And hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Mailbox Power Lunch and Learn. We are super excited to have you here today. You may notice that my co host today is not, in fact, Joe Kennemore. Joe
Just
is
not today.
Joe is taking some time to be with his family, much needed time to be with his family. And so I've asked Casey Eberhardt to join me again this week in substitution for my co host, Joe Kennemore. Casey Eberhardt is an entrepreneur. He's a savvy marketer, he's a savvy investor. He has so many attributes to the business mind that rocks around in that head of his. But I just want to welcome you, Casey, officially to the Lunch and Learn this week. And can't wait to get into today's conversation because I know that in your capacity as a coach and advisor to many, many business owners, you are going to pour a wealth of knowledge into us today.
Well, awesome. Thanks, Vanessa, for having me. And this is a topic that I think so many business owners, we may not spend as much time as we should on this. So I'm really fired up about this entire, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm super fired up about it as well. So while we wait for the live stream to catch up with us, let's ask everybody, what are you eating for lunch today? And people will be joining us. If you have not registered with StreamYard, go ahead and go over to StreamYard/Facebook, I believe it is, and you can register, and then we'll actually see your name when you comment. Hello, Natalie. Natalie is already registered, so we can see her name as she comments in the comments here. But we just want to make sure that all of you get registered so that we can actually see who you are and it doesn't just say Facebook user or something like that. So with that, what are you having for lunch today? We're curious. Case, have you had lunch?
I have not, fortunately or unfortunately, depending. I have been on call after call after call today. So as soon as we're
Same.
done here, I'll get to go stuff my face.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Me too. Marie's having a spicy Italian sub. Wow. Wow. Some of the things people come up with for lunch, I pretty much have the same boring lunch every single day. So, but some people come up with some really good things for lunch. Anyway, let's dig into our topic today, Casey, as I see that people are joining us here both on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. Um, our topic today is evaluating your marketing budget. We're not going to get into exactly how to spend your marketing budget today. That's going to be on next week's call. So, if you have been with us and been following our lunch and learns, we really focused heavily on gratitude and reaching out to your customers and connecting with them and setting up your holiday automations and making sure that you have all of that ready. We spent the entire month of November focused solely on that. The entire month of December is going to be focused on getting all of you small business owners in the right mindset to make the most out of 2022. And in order to do that, we need to take a good hard look at where we are right now. Some of the feedback that we've had is from talking to people in all walks of life, all kinds of small business owners, is that it's been a minute since you had a business class. It's been a minute since you had an economics class. It's been a minute since you had an accounting class. And for a lot of you, you get very, very passionate about what you're doing and not necessarily about the accounting part of it, the budgeting part of it, not necessarily spending a lot of time learning about the admin side, what I call the admin side of the business, right? You're all into the fun, creative, exciting part of the business, which is what you tap into as an entrepreneur. But a lot of you may not look at the nuts and bolts, really the admin side of the business. And December is a great time to evaluate that in preparation for the new year. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And again, I've asked Casey to join me. He is amazing. He has coached a lot of small business owners and large business owners as well, but a lot of small business owners on how to make the most of what they have to spend. And Casey, it's kind of funny because one of the things I get, and you probably get this a lot too in your capacity as a coach, is when you ask people, what's your marketing budget? What's your marketing budget? Most of the time, they will look at me like deer in the headlights. Like, marketing budget? I have no idea what the marketing budget is. And do you ever get that reaction from people?
All the time, right? And I think, Vanessa, one of the things that um, I'm looking at this slide here, and I think there are 4 key words in here that we don't spend a lot of time with. Number 1, evaluating.
Yes.
Number 2, your. Number 3, marketing. And number 4, budget.
Right.
And if we don't know what a customer is actually worth to us, it's also difficult to figure out what on the spectrum of budget we should be using in order to attract, keep, and build a deeper relationship with that customer. And it all starts with the evaluation process.
Exactly. So if you are a business owner in any capacity whatsoever, if you have a business, I'm going to ask you to grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to take some notes. We're going to be sharing some information, but also asking you some questions and giving you some homework for next week. So this is really part 1 of budgeting for 2022. And again, this is fairly high level stuff, but I think for a lot of you small business owners to the extent that we can cover this topic in 30 minutes or less, we will definitely give you some food for thought and maybe questions to ask yourself or your team as you move forward in planning for next year. So let's go ahead and move forward here. So the very first question is, how much should I budget for my marketing business? And my answer to that is, let me ask you, how old is your business? So you're going to be spending a different amount of money depending on how old your business is. And the reason for that is because if you're an older, say 5-year-old company, an established company, you already have some street cred. You already have recognition, brand recognition, hopefully. You already have a client base, hopefully. You already have people that are tapped into your business and using your business. If you are an established business, if you're a brand new business, that's all, that's all stuff that's wide open. And you have to generate traffic to your business. So your budget for a brand new or startup business is going to be higher than it is for an established business. So we're going to give you a little bit of a range here as we talk about this. But Casey, how many of your clients would you say are less than 5 years old, brand new businesses?
A lot of them. There's a lot of them out there. And one thing I would add to this, Vanessa, is not only does it go on the age of your business or your company, but it also, you have to look at the trust point and how long the sales process is, right? If you're selling, for example, life insurance, and you're going to require a deep understanding of their business and their tax returns and their financial statements and all of that, that is a longer, higher trust sales process than, you sell flowers.
Yes.
Right? I can see a picture, I've got a need, I make a call, I buy some flowers, right? So in addition to, are you a new business? Remember that a new business almost always is going to have a higher customer acquisition number than, like Vanessa said, something that's been a little bit more established. So that is also a kind of an element we have to add into this for sure.
Right. So here we go. If your business is young, and again, there are other factors that go into it, but this is just a little thumbnail idea of what you should be spending on marketing. If your business is young, you plan to spend 12 to 20% of your gross revenue. Gross revenue is your revenue that you brought in minus your cost of goods. Okay. So you're planning to spend 12 to 20%. We'll do the math and give you an example in a minute here. But for some people, you're thinking 20% on marketing? Like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to stay in business? Well, there's a range. It is 12 to 20%. But for those of you who are thinking about that right now, you need to make sure that every dollar you spend has a really high ROI, return on investment, right? Every single dollar that you spend has to work really hard for you if you've got that really tight budget.
Well, and Vanessa, it's a really kind of simple equation. If it costs you $1 of marketing to acquire a customer and that customer pays you $3 profit, then you've got a 3-to-1 ratio. It just becomes math. Dollar in, $3 out.
Right.
What I find is that most business owners don't know those numbers. So 20% might sound like a lot, but if you're selling Learjets or you're selling high-end cars, it's going to take a lot of dollars to acquire that customer.
Yeah.
But if you do this right, marketing is nothing more than solving a mathematical equation for your business. I invest X amount of dollars in marketing for this return over here.
Right.
We like to take as much chance out of the equation. And that's really what evaluating and putting a plan in place actually does. So once you know your number for your business and what it costs to acquire a customer, then it's just math. And then we get to have a lot of creative fun in testing something against each other to see which gets a better result.
Yeah, exactly. But Casey, I think a lot of people miss this step altogether. They don't know what their gross revenue is. They don't know what it costs to get a customer. So we're going to ask some of those questions in a minute to make sure people really dial in on the right questions to ask themselves about this. So here we go. If your business is mature, plan to spend 6 to 12% of your gross revenue. Now you're asking, okay, why did that go down so dramatically from 12 to 20 to now 6 to 12%? Well, as we said earlier, you hopefully already have some brand recognition out there. Hopefully you already have some customers. Hopefully you already have built trust with them. Hopefully you're already establishing those strong client relationships. And if you've done that, then it's going to take less of a budget for you to continue to build that business. It's already, the wheels are already in motion. Think of it as starting a train versus a train that's already rolling down the tracks. The train that's rolling down the tracks is going to take less energy and less effort than starting a brand new one.
And we're getting better at it along the way.
Yeah.
So our first marketing message might not land. And so it's going to take us 2 or 3 messages before somebody picks up the phone.
Exactly.
Whereas if you've done the process enough and you've talked to customers and you find out what their pain points are, it may take us less dollars to achieve the same result.
Yes. So I'm going to ask the audience a question. Do you know what your gross revenue is? That is a basic number that you should be very well aware of. And are you currently spending anywhere in this range that we've talked about? 6 to 12% as a mature business, or 12 to 20% as a brand new business, or a fairly new business. Are you spending that? Are you in that range right now? I'd love to hear comment in the comments if you would. So let's do the math on what this looks like, what this really looks like, Casey. And we're just going to use a rough, very rough gross revenue of $100,000. Okay. And so when we do that, you're looking at a new business or a young business of spending 12 to 20% or $12,000 to $20,000 based on that $100,000 in gross revenue. You're looking at a mature business spending $6,000 to $12,000 annually. This could be a gross revenue, an annual gross revenue, or if your business is much, much bigger than this might be your monthly gross revenue. Who knows?
Well, absolutely. And Vanessa, what makes this so powerful is I look at marketing as an investment. So it's just math, right? So somebody might look at this and go, oh my gosh, $20,000. Well, the question really comes down to, if that $20,000 invested returns another $100,000 in business, how many times are you willing to invest $20,000? The answer should be unlimited.
Right.
If your answer is, yeah, but I'm spending $20,000, and I say, yes, but we're going to return you $100,000. Yeah, but I'm spending $20,000. Unfortunately, you're left in a position where your competitor is going to understand this.
Right.
So when somebody asks me how much I spend on marketing, my actual answer is as many dollars as I can possibly scrape together to do it. Because I know my numbers. And I think, Vanessa, I think what you're really keying in here is for a lot of business owners, they just don't know their numbers.
Exactly.
Right?
They don't know their numbers. And this will actually help with that. That's a great segue into this, Casey, is they don't know their numbers. So let's ask these questions. Let's ask these really important questions. Again, you should be asking yourself, your accountant, somebody should know these answers. What was your gross revenue for 2021? And that's your total revenue minus the cost of goods sold. How much did you spend on marketing your business in 2021? Do you know that? And if you don't know that, go and figure that out, because that is going to help you with this, with the next question on the next slide. But the other question that I have is, how many new customers did you gain and retain? And the reason the retain word is in there is, I don't care if you got 1,000 customers a month. If you didn't retain any of them, then your cost of obtaining a customer is way higher than you think it is. So how many new customers did you gain and retain over the year?
And Vanessa, this is what you just said there is probably, for most business owners, the biggest thing that they don't look at and evaluate, and also the most profitable if you get it right. And I'm going to use a great example. I run a business coaching program. Our renewal rate at the end of a year is in the 80 to 90 percentile, right? Meaning we deliver on the goods. We have 80% of the people renew with us. It doesn't cost us additional marketing in order for them to say yes.
Right.
Right. I have another friend of mine who runs a similar type of program with a 0% renewal program. 0%, meaning no one in his program renews after a year. So he is in a constant marketing churn, trying to attract new customers that he can keep for a year. He knows they're going to go away. For me, my cost or my investment to market might be, well, it is less than his in the beginning, but I also have a renewal rate that lasts a lot longer. So the retention of a customer, whether they're buying stuff from you monthly, quarterly, yearly, maybe every 5 years, that needs to be also equated into when you're evaluating your marketing budget. Take that into account on the retention of those customers as well, because a lot of folks miss the retention piece and what that value actually brings to the business. It's a conversation you should be having with your CPA, your board of advisors, your business coaches, anybody that will listen. You should be having these conversations with.
Yes, 100%, Casey. And let me share this user comment if I can here. Can I show this comment? Yeah. So we had a Facebook user that said, Vanessa and Casey, this is an excellent example of doing the math to grow and retain your customer base. If you can increase your customer retention rate by 5%, which equates to an additional 25% in added profits, the spend on marketing is simply an investment into your growth plan. I wish we could call you out by name. I don't know who made that comment. You need to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, I believe, to register. But you're spot on. You were spot on with that. And that's why we're talking about how many new customers did you gain and retain, because retention plays such a powerful role in your overall, what that's going to look like. Oh, that's Mike Whitmire. Mike, you go and register. Thank you, Mike. Awesome. Really good. Okay. So moving on here, Case. Next set of questions is, how much did you spend to gain a new customer? That's your total spend divided by the number of new customers that you got. So how much did you spend to gain a new customer? And another thing to look at is, who were your best customers or clients last year? And sub underneath that, I have, what was their average spend with you? Who were your best customers and clients? And those aren't necessarily the ones that are nicest to you or smile at you or any of that. Your best customers or clients are the highest value customers and clients. Who spent the most with you? Who are those high value customers and clients? Because, and we'll talk about this next week when we talk about how to spend your marketing budget, but those customers and clients, those high value customers and clients can really drive your business if you pay attention to them and nurture those relationships. Casey, you and I were talking about this very topic earlier today. Do you want to share what you shared with me?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would just want to say going on to this top question is, I like to play games. I like to gamify every element of business possible because it has to be fun for me, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys take this top question, how much did you spend or invest to gain a new customer? The spend divided by the new customers you had over the year, now you've got a number.
Yeah.
Now we play the game to lower that number, right? And the lower we get that number, the better off we are. And then we have all these different levers that we can use in the business to play that game at a higher level and bring down that cost per client acquisition.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
Right?
when you were talking to me earlier today, you said I've segmented some of my best or highest value influencers. And you have a whole plan for that going into 2022 that you didn't necessarily implement this year, right?
Yeah, well, you're trying to be nice, and I appreciate that. Try to make me look good on here, but let me just call myself out, right? I use our system and tool all the time. But I kind of half baked it, right? So what I did was I sat down and I said, okay, we have really got to put people in different buckets depending on where they are. So I have one bucket now that are all my current coaching clients, right?
Mhm.
And they will now receive a touch from me every single month,
Okay.
right? So they're going to get a card or a card and gift. They will receive something as current customers. There is also another bucket of past coaching clients and businesses I've advised. Why? Because I also recognize that having somebody rejoin the fold is less expensive for me than somebody that's brand new.
Yep.
Right? Current clients are easiest. Second clients are past clients. Hardest are new customers. I recognize that a lot of businesses spend so much time on new customer acquisition, whereas I think if we get our current customers referring us more business and our past clients coming back into the fold, way less expensive. And then I have a third bucket, and I think this third bucket is probably the most valuable to me personally, and I'd recommend this for everybody to do this. And that's sit down and create a list of I call it the top 100. You can call it whatever you want. Your top influencers, your most powerful people on the planet, whatever you want to call it. But it is a list of folks in a bucket or in a group that are your top 100 people, right?
Yeah.
I have CEOs of companies, consultant friends of mine, high net worth individuals, people that run hedge funds. They're not customers of mine, and they may never be a customer of mine, but they are the top influencers that I want to be able to stay in their space over the course of the next year. They're in a bucket, and now they too will get a card, and these guys will get a card and a gift from me every month, because I recognize that out of those 100 or 200, how many end up being on there, it's going to only take one opportunity from one of them over the course of the next 5 years to cover and pay for and make that investment in that relationship valuable for that entire group.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm willing to do that because I know what one potential opportunity from one of those people can potentially bring to the business.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So the thing we really want to focus on as well is what worked well in 2021. And Casey just told you a great example of him looking back at 2021. What did he do well? What did he not do well? So that's the next question. What didn't work well in 2021? Now, sort of giving half effort is not working well, right? So giving full attention to that group of people is going to serve you well in 2022. So these are some of the questions that we need to ask ourselves as we start to think about what our budget is going to be and how we're going to spend that budget. So next week, we're really going to focus on how we're going to make the most of that budget, because there's no point in spending money just to spend money, right? We need to spend money to obtain new customers and to drive revenue. And if we can figure out exactly how we can do that and dial that in, and like Casey says, it's math, right? It's just math. And if you know what your numbers are and you know what it takes and you know what worked last year and you know what didn't work last year, you are in a far better position. You're really in the driver's seat. You can see with 2020 vision what happened last year, and you can broadcast what will happen this year if you do more of what worked and less of what didn't work.
And Vanessa, can I take 30 seconds and just call myself out, because I think we have a lot of customers that use the Mailbox Power platform that might be in the same boat as I am.
Yeah.
So I have thousands of people in my contact list. I've uploaded lists. We've got birthdays. But truth be told, there's probably over 1,000 people in my account right now who I've got their birthday, but we don't have them in a birthday automation. And quite frankly, it's costing me a lot of money having people call me and tell me that I missed their birthday, and then have to just send like an over gift for people I've missed on the birthday thing, right? So here's the thing. Mailbox Power runs a birthday challenge for anybody that's a customer, that you add 30 people to a birthday challenge and you go into a drawing for a cash prize. For me, that's an easy win. It's 30 people into a birthday campaign. Number one, it gets them now out of the, I don't want to send you a belated birthday, I'm actually on time with it.
Yeah.
Number two, the commitment for our business, or my business, is that I'm going to have a name in that drawing every single month. Because listen, if I don't win the prize in a year, I'm still ahead, because I'll have those people in birthday automations. But all it takes is for me to win that prize one time, and that now just pretty much pays for the entire birthday automation for a year, right? Depending on, so for me, the commitment is putting people in buckets, cleaning out the account, getting the birthdays I already have into birthday automation, playing the birthday challenge game that Mailbox has. I'm just playing in with what the company is giving us, because they know more than I do. I'm just playing into what they're already giving us.
Well, and we know statistically, when we celebrate people's birthdays, they are much stickier as a client. They are much stickier clients and customers. All right. So what are your business goals for 2022? That's another thing that you need to ask yourself. Our goal is to save you time by automating as much as possible. We're going to help you with that. Next week, we'll come back. We'll dig into exactly what to spend your marketing budget on. But if you'll take the time to go through and, just like we said, answer the questions that we've presented to you today, if you'll take the time to stop really quickly, and I know it's December, it's crazy, it's the holidays, we're all, decking the halls and celebrating, but take a minute now, just a few minutes to gather this information together. You will be so proud of yourself for actually planning ahead and doing things with forethought, charting the course for next year, which will make you that much more successful. I'm truly confident in that.
100%.
So hopefully you will join us next week preparing a marketing budget for 2022. Today was all about evaluating your marketing budget. Where are you spending your dollars? How much is it costing you to gain clients and customers? What's your retention rate? That type of thing. And then next week, we'll talk about preparing your marketing budget for 2022. So with that, Casey, I want to thank you so much for joining me today, for talking about this topic. You always share such great insight. And one of the things that I love about you is your willingness to be vulnerable with your own little pitfalls and opportunities. And I love that. I think that, that is a sign of a very, very strong business leader is someone who is willing to take a look and say, I could be better at that. So thank you.
And Vanessa, thank you so much. For those of you guys that are watching, do us a favor, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the Mailbox Power YouTube channel, right below this video, you're going to see a big giant red button that says subscribe. Not only do we want you to hit that subscribe button, when the little bell comes up, click that so you're notified each and every time Mailbox Power releases a Lunch and Learn video, as well as tons of videos coming up in the future. So smash the like button, and that's your way of saying, Vanessa, awesome job.
Thanks, Casey. And if you're watching us over in on any of the Facebook groups, you might be watching over there. Head on over to youtube.com/mailbox power and do exactly what Casey just told you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thank you again, Casey. Really appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.